It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another live stream discussion video. In this one, I'm going to be doing my second attempt at predicting the second half. I know I already did a prediction for the second half. It was actually a live stream as well, but I've been thinking about it, and I just wasn't really confident with my first predictions, and somewhere along the line something didn't really fit. But with that said, I've been thinking a lot about it, and I think my second attempt at this prediction is a bit closer to what we might actually see, and I'm feeling more confident about this. And there's just something about this new prediction that I have that I'm going to share with you. There's something about it that just feels right. Like things fall in place, and I've kind of looked through it, and I think that there's also a lot of room in my prediction for them to add in the few interesting stuff that we might see, like Dwight coming back, or Negan kind of going out and doing stuff. So I think there's definitely room for improvement in the prediction that I have, the second attempt. But at the same time, I feel confident about the prediction. I don't want to sound too cocky, but I do think that I'm onto something with this prediction. So I'll just wait a few minutes for people to join here, and then I'll actually start my predictions. I have everything written down as always. It's going to be a challenge reading it because I've been scribbling a little bit here and there, but I'll make it work. And hopefully you guys will either agree with me in some of these, or for some of this prediction, or you'll kind of let me know what you think and share your predictions and your opinions on it. But with all of that said, we have 4 people watching. We'll give it a few more minutes. And this was another spontaneous live stream, but I didn't want to just do a video on this. I wanted to kind of communicate with you guys and get your opinions at the same time as I'm sharing mine, so that it's more back and forth that way, and it makes more sense to me to do this video like this. That's why I didn't just do a video, I'm doing a live stream on it. Anyway, Animated Alex, yo brother, how are you? Glad you could join, Animated Alex. And I might do questions here, like Q&A stuff, but probably at the end. So right now we'll focus more on predictions. So along the way, if you hear something and you have something to say about it, let me know. But other than that, questions will be answered at the end. All right, we'll wait another minute, and then we'll jump right into this. All right, so let's just jump right into this, and yeah, let's just jump right into this. It doesn't seem like there's anyone else joining as of yet, so let's jump into it. So, of course, the start of the prediction is more or less the same as what I said originally, but I'll go through it anyway. So, I think we're going to start exactly where we left off, with the Whisperers surrounding Michonne, Magna's group actually, Eugene, and Aaron. It's going to be the same exact scene. It's going to pick up exactly from the moment Jesus was killed and they were surrounded by the walkers. And we're going to see the Whisperers confronting the group, and they're going to surround them, and they're going to basically take out their knives and attack them, as we see in the promo of the next episode, next episode you could say, but the next half. But I think what's going to happen at that point is they're going to kill all of the Whisperers, and they're going to kill the walkers that are in there as well. And as soon as the last person goes to kill the last wounded Whisperer, we're going to get the reveal that it's actually Lydia from the comics. Now, I don't want to dive into too much detail about who this character is and things like that, but for those of you that don't know, Lydia is just another character from the new group, the Whisperers, and she's different than the others. I'll just say that. But we're gonna see Lydia, and I think we're gonna have the exact same scene from the comics adapted to the show, where we have, you know, she's gonna whisper, "Please don't kill me," or "No, please don't kill me," something like that. And they decide to capture her and actually bring her back to Lydia as a prisoner, as a way to learn more about who this group is, what they do, and, you know, get more intel on who this group is and what they're capable of. And then I think at this point, we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to jump into Negan's story, where we have Negan, who has escaped, obviously. He's still at Alexandria. He's going to be looking around. He's going to grab a shovel, as we see in the sneak peek of the next episode, 909. He's going to grab a shovel. He's going to go to where Michonne's house is. He's going to go into Judith's room, it seems, and he's just gonna look around, and that's where the promo ends, or the sneak peek ends. But I think that's when he's gonna basically have a change of heart, and he's going to basically not really want to seek revenge or want to do anything, and he just wants to leave. He's probably just gonna leave Alexandria at that point, and most likely his first destination is gonna be the sanctuary. He doesn't know what's going on with the sanctuary. He thinks it's still standing. So I think he's going to go to the sanctuary as his first destination once he gets out. And I think that'll be the end of Negan for now. I'll jump back into Negan in a little bit, but I think at that point in the story where we are, that's going to be everything that we hear for Negan, or from Negan. And then I think then we're going to shift gears back to what happened with Michonne and the others. And I think at that point, it's going to be the morning. So this might actually be around the time where we have the end of 909, or it's going to lead into 910 or something like that. But I think at this point, we're going to see the group trying to get back to Hilltop, with Lydia, of course, being a prisoner. And they're going to basically see a herd, and they're going to be forced to hide under a bridge and, you know, wait till the herd passes. We've seen the bridge in numerous scenes in the promo, so we know the bridge is a key point in the story, or a key component of the story somehow. Much like the bridge was a key thing during the first half, or the first couple episodes. So I think it's going to be a similar type of thing, where they're going to have to hide under this particular bridge. And then they're going to be confronted by whisperers while they're hiding under the bridge. We saw numerous scenes with what seemed to be whisperers grabbing knives from their sleeves and from their pockets. And it seemed like they were under a bridge as well. So I think they're going to attack Daryl, Michonne, and Magna's group, and Aaron and Eugene, under the bridge. And of course, at that point, I think what's going to happen is they're going to kill all the Whisperers. There's going to be no one that's going to die or anything, but at the same time, it's going to be a close call. And once that's dealt with, once that's done, then what's going to happen is they're going to return to the Hilltop, and Lydia's going to be put in the cell. And Lydia's going to be put in the cell. It's going to be so that she happens to be next to the cell where Henry is in. And if they're doing with Henry what I think they're doing, which is remixing a part of Carl's comic book arc, they're going to have Henry and Lydia form some sort of bond. But, you know, they're going to be there together. But I don't think that they're going to show us anything more than that. I think they're just going to talk a little bit. And then I think we're going to go back into the other part of Hilltop, where we see them burying Jesus, and then we're going to have probably a lot of speeches by people, and that's when they're going to actually think about or look at what they're going to do to deal with the new enemy that they have in hand, the Whisperers, and, you know, what can they do with the enemy and how they can defeat it. And that's when they're going to kind of think about how they can use Lydia to gain more intel or information about who these people are and what they're capable of. That's when I think Daryl is going to go to that cell to talk to Lydia. And Lydia, still believing in a little bit of what the Whisperers are about and wanting to recruit people, because for those of you that don't know, Whisperers in the comics do actually try to recruit people who are you know, outsiders, or they're not with the other groups or with any community, or they're just alone or something like that. So I think Lydia is gonna learn quickly that Daryl is that type of person, and she's gonna try to recruit him. But then I think once we have that, we're gonna get more details about, you know, Lydia, and a little bit about what the Whisperers do and who they are through, you know, what Lydia tells Daryl and everything. And then at that point in the story, I think we're gonna have, for whatever reason, Alden and Luke going outside the hilltop doing something. And I think that's the point where they're gonna be captured by the Whisperers, and they're gonna basically have them, or force them to tell them where the hilltop is. And the Whisperers, including Alpha, the main leader for the Whisperers, they're gonna come to Hilltop. They're gonna be at Hilltop's gates, and they're gonna have the prisoners with them. And they want to trade Alden and Luke, being the prisoners, for Lydia. Of course, Lydia, I'm not gonna say too much about who she is and what her connection to Alpha is, but she's very important to Alpha, and Alpha wants her back. So she's gonna bring Luke and Alden and basically trade them with Lydia. And then, let me see where I was. Yeah, and then what's gonna happen is they're gonna trade. They're gonna have that trade happen. They're gonna negotiate the deal. And of course, Daryl is gonna be on the survivor's side, being the leader, sort of thing. And Alpha is gonna be on the other side. So we're gonna have that negotiation happening, the trade happening. And then once the trade happens, the Whisperers are gonna say, you know, we'll leave you be. But they warn them about the consequences of crossing their borders and coming back. And they're going to be like, let bygones be bygones. You know, we'll forget what happened. You forget what happened as well. As long as you don't cross our borders, we should be good to go. And then most likely what's going to happen is, at that point, Henry, having bonded with Lydia already, he's going to do what Carl did in the comics. He's going to want to go follow them and help Lydia, because he's going to think, or he's gonna have a feeling, that Lydia doesn't want to be where she is and she doesn't want to be with them. So he's gonna go out looking for Lydia, trying to get her back and helping her. So Henry is gonna follow the Whisperers. Now Daryl finds out this is what happened to Henry, maybe because Daryl goes back to the cell or something and then finds that Henry is not there. So he's gonna go to try to look for Henry. He's going to get out there, look for Henry. Now, I think at this point, stuff might happen along the way, but I don't think it's going to be too important. But what's going to happen at the end of the day is that Henry is going to be surrounded by the Whisperers when he gets close to their camp. And when he gets close, he's surrounded. What's going to happen is Daryl is going to find him around the same time. And he's actually going to see this happen. You know, see the Whisperers, or actually along the way he's going to see Whisperers, and he's going to kill Whisperers. And he's going to kill them and take their masks. And once he gets close to where the Whisperers camp is, he's going to see Henry surrounded. And he's going to put on the mask and infiltrate their camp and blend in with the Whisperers as one of their own. And you know, through that, I think we're gonna learn a lot about what the camp of the Whisperers looks like, who they are as a people, what they do, you know, what are their morals, what do they want to do with people that they capture, how do they live, things along those lines. I think that's gonna happen like that. And then at some point, Daryl's cover is gonna be blown, most likely, and most likely what's going to happen is his story is going to parallel Rick's story from the comics, where we have Rick going out there willingly, without putting on a mask or anything, trying to talk to the leader of the Whisperers, trying to get Carl back. Because he's going to make a case where he says, you know, just like you came for Lydia, Lydia was important to you, Carl is important to me. I want him back. Let's make another deal. And then you know, I'm not going to get into what happened in the comics, but I think they're going to do a similar thing where, you know, Daryl is going to talk to Alpha in that sense, or in that, from that perspective. And I think Lydia is going to really object. Like, I think Alpha and the other Whisperers are going to want to kill Daryl and Henry, but I think Lydia, having bonded with not only Henry but also Daryl, he's going to object, and you know, he's gonna say don't do it and things like that. And I think at that point Alpha is just gonna let him go. You know, he's gonna be, or she's gonna be like, okay, I let you go, but this is your final warning. There will be consequences if you come back or if you do anything. And then I think that's going to be a cover. I think she, in the back of her mind, she's going to want to kill them anyway. Like, she's just going to put on that act for Lydia. And that kind of feeds into what I'm about to say now, because I think they're going to have it so that we find out they were going to kill them all along, and they sent out Whispers and Beta to go kill Henry and Daryl as they're going back. And, you know, maybe to do other stuff as they're going back, like capture more people, go back and attack the communities, things like that. But then what's going to happen, I think, is so once they're coming back, I was just reading what I have written down here. I think before I actually get to that point, I missed something completely. When we have Alpha and Daryl talking before they let Daryl and Henry go, I think that's when we're going to have that scene from the comics come to life, where we have Alpha revealing the megahertz that she has at her disposal. And she's going to use the herd as a way to give a real warning to Daryl before he lets them go, or she lets them go for now. So I think that's when we're going to see that come to life. Of course, in the comics, it was Rick and Alpha, but I think they're going to have it with Daryl and Alpha in the show. So that's going to happen then. But going back to what I was saying, so as they're going back, Daryl and Henry are going back to Hilltop, but Beta and some other Whisperers are most likely going to follow them. And what's going to happen is, at that point, we might see messengers deliver the news to Daryl that Negan has escaped. He's gone. So, you know, Daryl wanting to take care of Negan first, because he sees Negan as the first threat immediately. So what he's going to do, he's going to order the guards to take Henry back to Kingdom, because that's where they're going to, or that's where Carol and Ezekiel are, and they can control him. They can take care of him. He doesn't trust anyone or think that anyone at Hilltop can really control Henry. He might do something stupid like this again, where he goes out looking for Lydia. So he's gonna order the messenger to take Henry back to Kingdom. He himself is going to go to the Sanctuary as the first destination for where he thinks Negan is going to go. He's obviously going to be right, I think. So he's going to go there looking for Negan. Now, I think at this point, Beta is going to send the Whisperers that are with him to go after Henry and the other messengers and try to find the other community that they're going to. But Beta himself is going to follow Daryl to the Sanctuary. So that's where we have kind of the Negan Beta Daryl scene that we were kind of thinking about how it's going to play out. So Negan is going to be at the Sanctuary. Daryl is going to go there looking for him, and Beta is going to be following Daryl. Now, I think when they're at the Sanctuary, or maybe they don't even have to be at the Sanctuary, they could be somewhere close to the Sanctuary, in an abandoned building of some, an abandoned building. We're going to have Beta attacking Daryl, and they're going to kind of have their fight that we see in the trailer of the next half of the season. And then that's where we're going to basically have Negan show up and save the day. And I think, of course, Beta is big. He can handle Daryl, but he can't handle two people. So that's when he's going to run away. But before he does, I think he's going to get his hands on two of Daryl's knives. So of course Daryl has these two knives now, but those are Beta's signature weapons from the comic book. So I think there's a reason they did that. They're gonna have this scene play out and have Beta escape or run away from Negan and Daryl, but at the same time he's going to take the knives with him. So he's gonna take that and he's gonna leave. But we're gonna have Negan and Daryl together now. Now, yeah, Daryl and Negan are gonna talk, and this is where we might have our reveals about what happened during the time jump. I think Daryl is gonna explain what happened with the communities. Maybe as a, I don't know, maybe Negan asks about it, but maybe he just starts talking himself and just lets it all out. So I think at this point we're gonna have that reveal about what happened during the time jump. And it's gonna be everything from the X scars to, you know, why Maggie left, to the conflict between the communities, to, you know, what happened to Oceanside or what might have happened to Oceanside, and all of that. I think all of those are connected and they're gonna be revealed around this time. And this is when we're gonna actually have the flashbacks that we might see for the time jump. So then, I think that's gonna be a great place to end an episode. So this is going to be like an ending of an episode. And then where we come back, and I know I said only twice this is going to be the end of the episode in one episode. Anyway, so when we are back, I think we're going to see Daryl and Negan returning to Hilltop. And then they're going to find out that everyone left to go to Kingdom for the fair that they have going on. So when they're there, they see that everyone's gone. So they're going to go to Kingdom to warn everyone about what's happening. Because, of course, Beta showed up. He left, but he showed up. So they know that their whole warning thing was bogus. And that... Actually, my camera died here. So let me connect that. So, yeah, I was saying, so they're going to know that their warning was bogus and they meant to kill them all along. And that they might attack the communities any minute now. And Daryl is going to put two and two together. He's going to be like, okay, so Beta came after me. There might have been more of them. They may have followed Henry and the messenger to Kingdom. So that's going to be a big problem. So they're going to go to Kingdom, trying to warn the others about this thing that's happening, about this threat. And they're gonna, you know, want a way to, or they're gonna think of a way to fight back. Then, when that happens, we're gonna actually see Henry and the messenger going to Kingdom, and we're gonna basically get the reveal that it's the fair is happening, and, you know, we're gonna see Whisperers with, or we're going to see the Whisperers. Maybe Beta is going to be with them. They're going to infiltrate the fair. They're going to blend in with the others, and they're going to, you know, be within the people. And they're going to make them think that they're part of the communities. And that's when I think they're going to slowly, or what we're going to see is a reveal about characters slowly going missing, and reveals about things happening, and, you know, characters are just not there, not where supposed to, and they're just missing and stuff. And, you know, that's when I think it's going to be closer to the mid-season, or not mid-season, closer to the finale, where we have the lineup scene from the comics. I don't want to dive into much detail about what that is, just in case you're a non-comic reader, but it's going to be another lineup scene, but it's going to be very, very different than the Negan lineup scene. It's going to be very different. But I think that's probably around the time that's going to happen. And the characters that I mentioned that might be, or not mentioned, but when I said characters are going to go missing, they're going to show up in the lineup at that point. So that's my predictions. That's everything that I had written down. Like I said, I'm feeling good about this prediction because everything seems to kind of work together and everything falls in place. And a lot of it seems like what they would do on Walking Dead. It's like writing style that Walking Dead usually has, where they have this happening for that reason, or, you know, have the characters do certain things. So that's my predictions. I could be completely wrong, but I'm feeling very confident about this prediction. Now, with that said, I'm gonna jump into the questions or the comments that you guys have. I'm gonna breathe a little bit because I wanted to get everything out as quickly as possible. Not really, but I didn't want to make this a long video before we get into the questions and answers and reading your comments. So I'll give it a few minutes here. Animated Alex, I predict dog will outlive everyone. Just kidding. No, he might be one. He might die. I'm just kidding. I hope they don't kill the dog. I mean, why even introduce the dog if you're gonna kill the dog? Connie Guzman, LOL Alex. Yeah, I know he was joking, yeah. Giuseppe De Rosa, wow, random Q&A out of nowhere. It's a discussion, not a Q&A, but we can do a Q&A at the end. Giuseppe De Rosa, is everything you said a prediction? It's a mixture of stuff we know from the comics, stuff we've seen in the trailer, things that seem plausible, and my own twist on things. But everything I said kind of seems to make sense, and everything seems to work together. And because of that, I'm feeling very confident about the prediction. And the details don't necessarily have to match. That's just me trying to put everything together in a story way. But I think the big plot points might match what I said. Or I hope they match. Animated Alex, do you think we'll see Doug take out a Whisperer? Doug can take out a Whisperer. Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. Not kill it, but, you know, save someone by attacking one Whisperer. I think that's definitely possible, and that would be very cool to see. Very interesting. It adds a layer to the story that is good. Because if you're going to have the dog there, have the dog do something relevant. And that would definitely be one thing that they could do. Connie Guzman, are we talking about everything or just what you talked about? We can talk about anything at this point. But, yeah. But if the season or the second half happens, at the end, if I look back at this prediction and I was completely off, I don't know. It's gonna be an ego thing where it's like, really, none of what I said made sense or happened. But if I'm close, then it's gonna be pretty cool. I hope I'm right. I mean, I'm feeling very confident about this prediction here. Animated Alex, kind of like how Shiva attacked the Savior. Yeah, with the dog, yeah, definitely. It's not going to be as deadly as Shiva, but it's going to help. Connie Guzman, what do you think happened to Oceanside? That's tough. I mean, there's two ways this could have gone. Michonne or someone else could have killed them all, which is unlikely. Second, they could have been exiled because of what they did to the Saviors. I think the second option is the most likely one. That they were exiled, they had to go looking for their own community, looking for their own settlements. Much like what they had to do when the Saviors showed up. So it'll kind of parallel that story as well, which is interesting. So I think they're gonna have them be exiled, and we might learn about what happened to them. But I think some of them might have died, but the majority of them were exiled. And not died by the hands of Michonne or someone, but died other ways. That might be related to the Whisperers. Connie Guzman, the teens talked about them as if they were alive. Yeah, definitely. I agree. I remember that. And I think they mentioned something along the lines of they are in their own camp or their own community or something. So that kind of matches with them being exiled as well, or supports that claim as well. Giuseppe De Rosa, I'm back. Welcome back, Giuseppe. But going back to what I was saying about the prediction, the part that matches now is, you know, the whole thing with Negan, Beta, and the Whisperers, and how they find the kingdom in the first place. If they haven't been there, right? They followed the group back to Hilltop. They know about Hilltop, but how do they know about the kingdom? I mean, Alden and Luke were captured, but did they know where the kingdom was? Maybe Luke or Alden did, but I don't know about Luke. But I think they could also explain how they knew where the kingdom was that way, because they could have had Whispers following Henry and the Messenger back to Kingdom, like I said. So everything kind of works together and kind of matches or falls in place with the prediction that I gave. Giuseppe De Rosa, I can't wait for the day I use my moderator powers. LOL. Well, it's a good thing you don't have to use it, right? That means there's no jerks or, you know, people like that in the comment sections or chat. Animated Alex, is the Fear Whisperer theory debunked? Or is the Fear the Whisperers theory debunked? I think so. At this point, yeah. I hated that theory in the first place, so I'm glad that they're not doing that. Giuseppe De Rosa, Ash, what's your job? I'm in IT, computer scientist. Animated Alex, I wonder how Merle would have handled the Whisperers. Merle would have handled the Whisperers by... Depends. If he was a soldier or one of the fighters, then he would handle them by just killing them, right? When ordered. But if he was a leader, I don't think he was leader material, so he wouldn't be able to defeat the Whisperers. Even the survivors in the comics were not able to completely defeat the Whisperers the way we think. They did, but there were some massive consequences with what happened. So, and it's completely different from what happened with Negan. Compared to Negan, the Whisperers are... Or compared to the Whisperers, Negan and the Saviors were nothing. Trust me. But yeah, that's probably how he would have handled the Whisperers. Giuseppe De Rosa, Ash, you do look like an IT guy. Yeah, I do. What do IT guys look like, though? That's the key question. I could take that as a compliment, but that could also be an insult, so I'm going to take it as a compliment. Giuseppe De Rosa, the Whisperers ain't shit, all they got is a giant herd. And Beta. They have a herd and a beta. That's what they have. Giuseppe De Rosa, Alexandria whooped their ass. I mean, depends what you consider whooping someone's ass. looking at the comics, not going to go in detail, but looking at the comics, who suffered more before we actually got into the war with the Whisperers? Was it the survivors or was it the Whisperers? I think it was the survivors. So they somewhat or underestimated the Whisperers. Somewhat it was a case of they didn't know what they were dealing with. But I think they whooped their ass initially. Animated Alex, could you imagine if Shane didn't die and he was on the helicopter? That would have been weird. I don't even know how you could have made that work in terms of the story. Distance aside, timeline aside, all of that aside, why? Why would Shane be there? You know what I mean? Why would, what would be the chances of Shane being in this random helicopter from this random group or community and they randomly find Rick, who Shane knows? There's a lot of what ifs, So aside from the distance and the timeline and everything not working, there's other problems. Animated Alex, do you think there will be more Whisperers? Yeah, definitely. If you mean main Whisperers that are going to be revealed, maybe, but we don't really need it. All we need is Lydia, Alpha, and Beta. We don't really need to know more Whisperers, personally. But they could do it for sure. But are we just going to see more Whisperers in general? Of course we are. So, while I'm waiting here, tomorrow I'm going to be doing the suggested video for this week. Stay tuned for that. Then, Thursday is going to be the Throwback Thursday video, which is top 10 ranking. This one is going to be top 10 characters ranked, dead characters ranked. So, it's basically who would I want back that's dead or has left in a way. Well, not left, but they've permanently left. Let's just put it that way. So that's going to be the video for Thursday. Also tonight, I do have another quick video coming up about Tara. Stay tuned for that. For tonight, it's going to be a very quick one. But I'll do that tonight. Tomorrow, suggested video. Thursday, it's going to be the ranking video. Friday is going to be the live stream. And then we're going to have the rest of the videos next week. Giuseppe De Rosa, how would Negan deal with the Whisperers? If he was with the or if he was a leader still with the Sanctuary, how would he handle them? That's interesting. I think the shock will still be there. I think they wouldn't be able to predict what the Whisperers do or who they are. They would definitely come as a surprise. How would they deal with them? They would just not take any chances and treat every walker as a Whisperer. And they would use the prisoner that they have, assuming they would do the same, and they would torture her or him to tell them where the camp is. They would go to the camp and just wipe them out. Or try to wipe them out. There's obviously going to be people that might die from both groups, but at the end of the day, I think that would have been Negan's approach or his way to deal with the Whisperers. Animated Alex, do you think since they have been expanding the communities, they have schools now? I think they have not schools, but people teaching the kids, kind of like schools, in the communities separately, but not like a general one. No, just in each community, there's probably an area where people or kids go to learn new stuff. We've seen that a little bit already with the kingdom before the time jump, like before they were even introduced, like when they were introduced. When we went there, when we saw everyone, they had like a mini place where, I don't know where it was it like in the yard or out in the open, where there were kids reading books, you know, listening to the teacher or something. So I think they're gonna have that, maybe a little bit bigger and a little bit more widespread in the communities, but not a general one, just separate ones. Giuseppe De Rosa, do you think 6 Special Forces soldiers can take out the Saviors? Oh, 6 Special Force soldiers can take out the Saviors. Yeah. The Saviors are just, they don't have a plan. Special Forces, they can think. They can use the strategy to deal with people that have weapons and that are attacking. So, yeah, I think they would have handled them pretty easily. Depending also the firepower on both sides. And if you're saying 6 Special Forces versus the entire Viceroy or entire Saviors, then that's a different story. Probably not. They would have killed a few of them, but they would have died along the way because there's just so many Saviors. Or there were so many Saviors. But if you're just dealing with 6 versus 6, I think it would have been an easy fight with Special Forces. For the Special Forces. If they had the right weaponry. And, you know, they had the right firepower. All right, we're 40 minutes in. We'll go for another 10 minutes of questions here or comments or opinions, and that'll be the end of this live stream because I do want to get the quick video that I want to do tonight out as well. So tomorrow I don't have to do that and then jump into the suggested video because I might not have time to do both. So yeah, I want to get to that tonight. Giuseppe De Rosa, I'm probably going to join Marine Special Forces. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Giuseppe De Rosa, do you think Negan underestimated Rick? I think up to where we had the war happen, yes. But afterwards, no. I think initially they both underestimated each other. Rick and group underestimated Negan and the Saviors before they attacked them. After they attacked them, and once Abe and Glenn got killed, that's where, or after Rick kneeled down sort of thing to Negan and the Saviors, that's where Negan and the Saviors underestimated Rick and group. And then up to the war, that was the case. And then once the war started, then I think both sides were smart enough or knew better not to underestimate the other side. So I think it was back and forth. Giuseppe De Rosa, bigger question, what if Rick's group never went to Alexandria? I think a lot of them would have died along the way, maybe most of them, but I think what we might have seen is they might have survived just like Luke, Kelly, Magna, and Yumiko survived. You know, they would have been just like 4 or 5 people, 4 survivors, and they would have just been together and lived through stuff together and survived. I think that group of 4 or 5 people would have been maybe Carl, maybe not, but Rick, Michonne, Carol, Daryl. I think these would have been the main 4. Giuseppe De Rosa, do you think Rick will lead the Commonwealth? In the comics, no, I don't think. I think that's just too easy. That's too easy of a prediction. I think they have something else planned. I don't know what it is, but I think that's just too easy of a prediction. If Kirkman does that, then, you know, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. And I don't want to see another war with Commonwealth and the other survivors or groups. That's also too easy of a prediction, too easy of a plot line. We've seen that over and over again. Give us something new and interesting. And I think the Rick leading Commonwealth is just too easy. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Giuseppe De Rosa, will Rick ever see his family again? In the show, maybe, just maybe in the far future, but not anytime soon. And at that point, when we are like that far along, who's still going to be there? Maybe Michonne, maybe Judith, but that's pretty much it, right? There's going to be RJ as well. So these are the main three, right? And at this point, I am including everyone as his family, like Daryl and Carol and everyone. But yeah, he's probably going to see them, Michonne, Judith, and RJ, way in the future, right? But not anytime soon. But everyone else, I don't even know most of them will be alive. Michonne might not even be alive or there when Rick comes back, if he comes back. But RJ and Judith will most likely be there. Giuseppe De Rosa, the only really satisfying end is Rick reuniting with his family. Yeah, that would be satisfying for sure. That reminds me, not reminds me, but that actually gets me to think about something. What if, and just hear me out on this, what if, you know how we have the Rick movie thing? What if he goes to this community, it's a helicopter community, right? It's different from Commonwealth, but what if in the movie we have our first introduction of the Commonwealth in a different way, where we have them join, or having the helicopter group join them, or defeating them, finding out that they're bad people, defeating them, and taking in the good people. Maybe Rick is one of them. So the helicopter community is not Commonwealth, but the Commonwealth is there taking people in after they defeat the helicopter community. Rick is going to be at Commonwealth. When we get to the Commonwealth story, then we might actually have a big reunion, like the big scene with in the comics where we had Michonne reuniting with her daughter. In the show, it'll be Rick reuniting with everyone. Think about that. And I don't know, that could work, but then that makes them liars because they said Rick is not coming back. But then again, if they do say he's going to come back, we might put two and two together and it won't be a big shock anymore to us. So, yeah, I mean, depends how you look at it. But I think that could work. Giuseppe De Rosa, what will the Rick movie be like? or be called. It has to have Walking Dead in it somehow. So, I don't know. It could be... that's difficult. I mean... Yeah, that's difficult. I have no clue. Because it has to have Walking Dead in it somehow with another kind of subtitle, right? So, yeah, I mean... The first thing that comes to my mind, and it probably won't work, is Walking Dead Legacy or Rick Legacy or something. Something like that. But that doesn't really work with the story that they're telling in the movies. So, I don't know. Giuseppe De Rosa, what if Rick joins the new group and Alexandria joins the Commonwealth and Commonwealth go to war with Helicopter Group and Rick sees his family during the battle? Ooh. You might be onto something. That would be epic. That would be epic, actually. I like that. I like that theory. That actually could work. That's a good prediction. I like that. Animated Alex, do you think if Rick does come back, we'll have a new look? To the show, if he comes back to the show, maybe, but doesn't really matter. If he comes, just matters that he comes back, if he comes back. And again, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Jig Jig Almandros the Goose, hello Ash, I miss you so much. Hi, how are you? Glad you could join the stream. Animated Alex, here's The Walking Dead, or here's the title, The Walking Dead Departure. Nah, that won't work. That's too cheesy. That won't work. Jig Jig Almandros the Goose, how are you, Ash? I am great, how are you? Alright, we'll go for 10 more minutes. I said 10 more minutes like 15 minutes ago, but we'll go for 10 more minutes. Jig Jig Almandros the Goose, do you still remember me? That name rings a bell for sure. Giuseppe De Rosa, would you rather watch The Walking Dead show with no Rick or Rick movie? Watch The Walking Dead show with no Rick or Rick movie. Can I not watch both? Can I not have that? If I had to choose between watching a Rick movie and the second half of the season of The Walking Dead, that's difficult. I would choose the show. Because, I mean, the movie, we don't even know if it's going to live up to expectations and the hype. But for the second half of season 9, there's definitely a lot of hype. And I'm looking forward to a lot of things that they are bringing in. But if you're just talking about in general, Walking Dead versus the movie, why can't you have both, man? But that's not an easy pick. I would probably go with the movie, long term. But it's just one movie. The show is longer. So, I stick with the show still. Alright, 5 more minutes and that'll be the end of the stream here. And what I'm gonna do is in the description, I'm gonna have tags of the time where I actually start with my prediction, which was the purpose of the video anyway, like the main thing, and the end tag for the prediction. So that way, if people are watching again at the end, or not at the end watching again, but if you're going back to watch the earlier part, or if you're just coming back and you see there's this video and you want to watch it, you know, you can see in the description the time And it'll be the first thing you see in the description, so you'll easily know that that's the time where I start the prediction. Giuseppe De Rosa, will Rick ever get his old hair back? Well, old hair again. He might, but he's older now, so it makes sense why his hair would look a little bit different. Giuseppe De Rosa, how do you feel about the theory of Rick finding his brother in the helicopter group? Could work. Yeah, it could work. Is it a big deal? Kind of, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where we don't really care about it that much because there isn't really any evidence or anything concrete for it. So it's just a theory, right? And I don't know. I am excited for something like that, but at the same time, if they're just going to have Rick's brother die, then it'll be pointless. Yeah. Giuseppe De Rosa, what if Rick has monk hair? That would be a crazy Rick. Alright, that's it for this live stream discussion. Thank you everyone who joined and asked questions. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed my prediction. And for the time being, it's going to be my final prediction for now. And then once we get into the second half and we see a bit more, I might have different predictions about the rest of the season after the first 2 episodes or something. But for now, that's where my prediction or what my predictions are. Last question. Giuseppe De Rosa, Rick and Morgan's teaches... Wait, what? Rick and Morgan's teacher's hair. I have no idea what you mean there. Anyway, that's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.